We thank you for enabling us to be here today. We commit today's fellowship to your hands, Heavenly Father, that you may transform us into better leaders through today's teaching. May you use our speakers and our guest to help us, to shape us into better leaders through their teaching. We thank you, we honor your name. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we've prayed. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jimmy, what do we do? Is it time?
We are so happy to see all of you. We've been looking at our book, The Art of Upland Leadership, and our pastor has been sharing about it together with a few speakers. We had Engineer Francis the last 2 weeks, and today we are honored to have another amazing guest, and our pastor will introduce to us our guest speaker, whom I believe most of us have seen on the flyer. Let me take this honor to come our pastor Judith to share with us more and invite our guest. Thank you so much.
Amen. Liz, is Liz here? Liz, are you able to talk? I know Liz likes our speaker today. I wanted to see if she has something to say. Liz? Yes, it's good to see you, Dr. Morris. I'm asking Liz I'm giving her an opportunity to tell us all the good. I know she's your friend and loves to be.
Okay.
So Liz, this is your only chance. Otherwise, I will have to do it. For those who do not know, Dr. Morris is one of our board members in Uganda. And we were actually introduced by someone here in the US. And who told me and said, my neighbor is also from Uganda, said, if you're looking for good people, make sure you go looking for someone called Dr. Morris. So I'm always very bold. So I looked for his number and they told me you're a good person and you can help.
Wow.
So we became friends. So I'm very grateful. He's been very, very, very helpful. For those who do not know, sometimes we have to meet in the middle of the night because of time differences. But he has also opened up his home for us as EM. He has a very beautiful home, I think many homes, but one of the homes to come and have our board meetings there. And then he cooks for us and he helps us, especially the team on the ground, to enjoy his property. And I don't think I can do justice to his CV, though you can look him up on LinkedIn. I just know he has a heart for leadership. So I told him, I said, we have to bring you in this discussion. So he went and bought the book and he has been reading it. So he's going to tell me how I did or if I did anything, because he's also a doctor in leadership. So pray for me that I get good marks, because he's been marking me. But it is also good to have different voices from different cultures speaking to us through of course, the theme is leadership, God's way, or how did Jesus do it? But all these different voices have brought in their experiences. Like Dr. Morris, I know he's a consultant and people hire him, his services to vet people, hire people. He will tell us all about him. Please, Dr. Morris, I want people to know how invested you are in leadership. So please, if you can help me, just do justice to your service.
And well, that is very interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
But Judith, the lady is in the house also.
Yes.
Dr. Helen is there.
Oh, Dr. Helen.
I think. So.
Can Can she say hello? I don't know if you're together or
No, we are not.
so
But I saw her on.
yes, please.
Maybe she could.
I like it when we have spouses because that we are stronger. Please, Dr. Helen, say hello. Hello.
So, good evening, everyone. Good morning.
Yeah, it's 12.
I am
So,
at the workplace.
oh,
So, yeah, okay.
thank you. Thank you for
I'm
allowing
glad to be here.
to borrow your husband and come and help us. He's been very, very helpful. And I know you've always also attended our functions and supported us.
Mhm.
It's a blessing.
Yeah,
It's a blessing to have.
thank you.
God bless. Okay, so this is a good day. I think it's our first time to attend our online fellowship, right?
Yeah.
So please come again. Dr. Helen, come again. And Dr. Helen is a doctor.
I have actually
You've been on before.
attended a few, only that I'm a silent listener.
Silent.
Yes, I have attended some.
I think so, because especially when you was teaching, he has taught for us before. Remember, you also came. So thank you so much. So let's allow our speaker to just introduce himself so that you know who he is. And please reach out to him. He's a good person. Both of them are good people. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Pastor Risa. It's quite good to be here. It's an honor for me to be here. By way of introduction, I wish I had posted my bio, then I would not have to go through this, but just in a nutshell, I'm a child of God. I've been saved for the last 33 years.
Man.
And so that means my salvation journey is older than some of the people on this platform. And I thank God for that. I've been married to Helen for the last 28 years. And the Lord has blessed us for kids, 4 young adults. We are actually grandparents.
Yeah.
We have a grandson called Ezra. And my wife, Helen, works in Mulago. She's the head of pediatrics. She's a senior consultant there. So I usually advertise her that if you have any issues to do with your child, give her a call, give me a call. I'll connect you to her and she will help. She does servant leadership there. For me, I do consultancy in academics, business, management, and governance. And I have helped so many organizations, both in the private and the public sectors. We served at Watoto for about 15 years as the leaders of the Marriage Fellowship. And because of that, maybe our marriage has survived all these 28 years because we try to practice what we preach. But it's by the grace of God that we are who we are. And today I take the honor. Thank you so much, Judith, for allowing me to review your book, and especially chapter 6. I've actually read through the book. I am an avid reader, and I decided to read through the book so that I could get understanding of what you are writing about. And I picked some things generally that I would like to share with us, with those who are listening. One of the things that I picked that really touched me was the definition of what Pastor Judith thinks about what the art of upside down leadership is. What is upside down leadership? And I picked it from her book on page 4. And this is how she defines upside down leadership, which I'm calling UDL. I've coined an abbreviation for it as UDL, upside down leadership. And she says that upside down leadership is quotes, the stewardship of God-given influence for the purpose of serving others, developing people, and advancing God's mission in the world.
Mhm.
I felt that was a profound definition of upside down leadership. Of course, there are many other definitions of leadership which talk about influence and other things. But I think, Pastor Judith, you did us a service by giving us a very comprehensive or embracing definition of what upside down leadership is, or what I'm calling UDL. And to ensure that we understood what this one was, she went ahead and divided her book into 12 chapters. I'm doing this for the sake of those who have not read it or may not have a chance. And her first chapter was about, or is about, the art of leadership, where she talks about wisdom, she talks about character, she talks about influence. Chapter 2 talks about why leadership is upside down, and she gives examples of from Jesus' style of leadership. Chapter 3 talks about a historical perspective, and she gives an example of destructive leadership, how other types of leadership can be destructive to the organization and actually to humanity. Chapter 4 is about leadership and leading. Chapter 5 is about the vision, and she says, and I agree with her, that vision is the bedrock of leadership. Without vision, you have no idea where you are going or where you are taking others. So the vision is very important. I think you guys had a review of that with engineer. And then I'm going to review chapter 6, which she calls choosing a team to implement the vision. But I have referred to it as leading with a team. And I'll explain why I think it is leading with a team. Chapter 7 is about leading self. She has another topic title, but when I read through, I realized it was about leading self. And true indeed, you can't lead others before you know how to lead yourself. Other books, other professionals on leadership will call this self-awareness, self-mastery. She brings it out so well. Chapter 7, if you have an idea, if you have a chance to go to this book, chapter 7 brings out, I believe chapter 7 is actually the beginning of you as a leader, to know how to lead yourself so that you can lead others. Then chapter 8 talks about the mission. And I said that the mission is bigger than the missionary. The mission is bigger than the missionary. When we had these missionaries in Uganda, in Africa, and other countries, it was not necessarily about them. It was about the mission that they were bringing, the word of Jesus Christ. Chapter 9 is about using experience to heal. When you have been touched, when you have been pained, how do you heal and remain an effective leader? And some of us have those kind of experiences. We have gone through that. Chapter 10 is about the importance of upside down leadership. So once we have known what upside leadership is it really important? How does it compare with other types of leadership, authentic leadership, transformational leadership? And then chapter 11 is about promoting UDL, promoting upside down leadership. How do we promote it? Because it's a good thing. And lastly, chapter 12 is about leading others to God's purpose for their lives. So after all this, the end result is your leadership should lead you and others. You might lead others and you are not led, but it should lead you and others to the promised land when you are gone. And you see that in the way Jesus led, he did all these things, and at the end of it all, he went to heaven, and we are still going to heaven because of that. And so I wanted to ask, actually, at this point, I wanted to ask Pastor Judith, why did you have 12 chapters? Why are they not 11? Why are they not 8? Why are they not 20? Why are they not 21 like Maxwell's traits of leadership? Maybe you can offer a glimpse into that. Why did you choose 12 chapters?
I don't know if there is an answer for 12, not 13, but I was conscious not to, you know how these days they say people no longer read too much. So I didn't want to write something so big that people look at it and say, oh, this is another Bible. And they just put it aside. I think I want to talk about leadership in how it is defined differently, especially for us who are followers of Christ, and why that is important and it is enough. So I thought in the first few chapters that I think that was my goal. Then the second is the experiences of all these people we've seen, the good ones, the bad ones. That's how people like Hitler and Idi Amin made the list. And then some good people we know about, like Mother Teresa and Martin Luther Jr. So I wanted to, this is how we should look at leadership, and it is founded in scripture. Like that was really important for me. Because especially nowadays, there are so many examples of leadership, companies or corporations and all this and all that, but are outside scripture. And then they have all these scandals, and I'm like, why are we looking very far? So that was critical. Then let's talk about the examples. Those who did well, why did they do well? And those who failed. And actually find that those who did well have, most of them, maybe 90 something percent, they have an aspect of faith. So that was supporting the fact that we shouldn't look away from Jesus or scripture. Actually, I struggled with the cover because I was like, if people see Jesus on the cover, are they going to just think this is a Christian book, which they shouldn't touch or look at? But I said, no, Jesus' leadership speaks for itself. There is no reason why we should shy away from pointing out that Jesus did it well, and still the world is still following him so many years after. So I think that was joint. Apple, I think that is Apple. Please remember to mute. Then another part was, where do we find ourselves? What are we struggling with? I wanted to talk about leadership and its struggles and wounds and what to do with that, making sure that the journey does not define you as a leader. But also what when you love leadership, but you go in there and then it breaks your heart, people disappoint you. What do you do? Where do you go from there as a leader? Because leadership is beyond me. So that is also, I'm thinking in the 12 chapters, to answer your question, I wanted to tell a story, and I think I did. And then I end the book by defending the reason why I'm saying that leadership should be upside down. The way we are doing it, the way our companies, organizations are doing leadership, actually, we should do it backwards. The people we serve should not be the ones on the last priority or at the bottom of the pyramid. Actually, that should be our target. It's not you, what defines you as a leader, number one, is not your post or your title or how many people are under you. You know how we say how many people are in your department, and that makes you look important or makes you look good as a leader. But I'm making an argument that it's not how many people are under your leadership. It's actually how many people you're pushing up. You're making better people. How many people am I serving? That should be our attitude, not how many people are under me, which is what is happening in the world. We define ourselves, number one, it is very hard as a leader to define yourself by the post or what you do, because when that is taken away, your world ends. have examples of people who have committed suicide and all that. So I'm making a case that we are not defined by what we do as leaders, but also we are not defined by how many people we lead, but how many lives we are changing. And then we're saying our goal should be, how do I make these people better people? There's where about the mission, I say, is this mission about me or am I about the mission? Is it the organization? Is what I do about me as a leader and everyone is answerable to you, everything is about you? Or am I about the mission? Is my life, my goal, my work as a leader to make sure that this mission, which I'm making a case that it is a God-given mission or a God-given vision, your life and everything is about that mission. It's not the other way around. Not everything is about you as a leader. So I thought
Absolutely.
as would tell the story, but my plan is, Dr. Modis, pray for me, everyone, that if people have this, we could keep building on the story because leadership, number one, it has so many definitions, has so many people have written about it because it's a critical area. But we can write series. This was upside down. Maybe next time we talk about leadership in different. We can do so many things with leadership, regions, cultures, men and women. How are they doing this? Churches, different. So pray that this will be so many series. Sorry, that's a very long answer.
No, I think you did it justice because you had to explain why you had 12 chapters and not 13. Actually, when I looked at this number, I said maybe she was thinking about the disciples.
Oh, maybe I should not. Now that you bring it up, I wasn't very spiritual at that point.
No, I understand. Thank you so much. I would just like to say that you did justice. You captured. I've actually tried to compare your book with other books on the same subject. And I must say that this is really focused and it captures something different that other books haven't, trying to focus on Jesus as a leader. I've not seen, the Bible does it, but the Bible is so immense. You were able to capture all this into 200 pages. I think that was phenomenal. And yes, you're right. A book that is more than 200 pages this time, it may not be easy for many people to read. It wouldn't be easy for me. So thank you so much. I salute you on that. And write more books like you've said. So leading with a team, and I'm suggesting that if you have a question, please write it down and we shall look at those questions later so that I'm able to go through this. I want us to use as little time as is available and ample, not overdoing things. So chapter 6 talks about choosing a team to implement a vision. And I thought this is about leading with a team because we do not just choose, but we need to lead whom we have chosen. And leading the team is the nexus between the leader and the led, the followed and the follower. You know, if you're able to lead the team, you create a linkage, a nexus between you as a leader and those that you are leading, or you as a person who is being followed, and those that are following you. Is when we talk about it from the Christian perspective. And in the contemporary world of ours, I looked at it and I thought that being a leader may be planned. Becoming a leader could be a planned process. A lead of a team, I mean, leading a team could be something that one plans and say, okay, I'm going to have this team. Jesus planned. He knew the kind of team he wanted. But it's not always that we plan ahead and we get a team unless we are making our own companies, unless we are like Judith and we're starting an NGO that is ours. Sometimes we inherit the team. You have seen, if I go to the soccer world, the way they change these leaders, the managers. somebody is in Man U today, after 1 year, when they don't do well, he goes to Man City, that kind of thing, and they inherit a team there. So as we go through this, it depends on where you are. Did you inherit a team? Or did you conscript a team? Did you make a team for yourself? Or did you think about it like Jesus did, prayed about it, got a team, and empowered it? So it depends on where you're at. Each of these, you need to see how to move on. But at the end of it all, the principles of leading a team, or not leading a team, sorry, leading with a team is the same. There's a difference between leading a team and leading with the team. Jesus did not lead a team. Jesus led with a team, meaning the team was part of what he was doing. And that's what we're supposed to do. We are supposed to lead with a team. I can go back to EN. I think in EN, as far as I'm concerned on the board, I think Judith leads with a team. I don't think you need a team. I think you lead with a team, because so many times have you come to us and say, oh, I want to do this. How do we do it? And that is leading with a team. Now, if we are leading a team, you'd say, oh, the Kampala team, I am starting this project. Please, here is the money. We are doing it in Kansanga. There you are leading a team. Then we see what to do on your orders. But when you involve us in the strategy, in the vision, in the mission, then you are leading with a team. And that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to use Pastor Judith's book. I'm not getting these things from anywhere else. I read through that chapter very well and tried to pick out things that I thought were salient that you can use and also merge them with what is happening in the world. So when organizations are recruiting in the contemporary world, where I work, we look for experience. So first ask you, please present your CV. And then when you present your CV, we look at whether what we want is what you have, or what we want is who you are. And if you don't, then you are taken out immediately. I remember I worked with the UN for some time, and we're trying to recruit a consultant. And this was a job to do with women and their use in the ICT. And we said we wanted somebody with a PhD. And we got about 182. I'll never forget that exercise. About 182 applicants. So when I was the leader for the team, and when we got that, we said, okay, we want somebody with a PhD. So we removed everybody that didn't have a PhD. We didn't look at the experience. We didn't look at whether this person has 2 masters. We didn't look at the age. We just removed anybody without a PhD. And when we removed, we stayed with 18. Can you imagine? And then from the 18, now my boss came and said, okay, out of these 18, who has a PhD longer than others? So we went into and we said, oh, this one has been with a PhD for 8 years. So anybody can imagine that criteria? I think it was wrong. And the world does that. They look for experience. They look for academic excellence. Sometimes they even go, did this person get a first class? And then we look for expertise and skills in that particular area. And then sometimes we look the part. We look for the part. We look for how strong, how is this person presentable for the job? Is he going to present us so well? We do what many people do in this world. Remember how David was got after looking at his brothers who were smarter, taller, and they almost looked like Saul. And Samuel was like, I think he's one of these, and he was wrong. Little David thought, I think small, became the leader because God looks at the heart. In team leadership, there are 2 aspects. One of them is recruitment. You need to recruit and select using a certain criteria. And then the most important one after that is to lead this team, to lead with this team. So I'm going to look at what Pastor Judith picked out in her book and what I've also picked out from the Bible and my thinking about how Jesus chose his team. And actually the book dwells so much on this. how Jesus chose a team. Because if you choose a wrong team, even when you try to empower them, it might be very, very, very difficult. So how did Jesus do it? One, the guy prayed. I call him a guy. Jesus is my friend. So I am not, I am not, sometimes people think I take it too far, but I take him as a personal friend. I think that's what he says, that we should call him a personal friend. We should call him a father. So Jesus prayed. Can you imagine? The first thing that Jesus did was to pray to the Father. Luke chapter 6, verse 12 to 13 says, one day, soon afterward, Jesus went up on a mountain to pray. And he prayed to God all night. Some of us find it hard to pray 4 hours. The guy prayed all night. And you wonder, but Jesus was God. Why would he go to God to his Father for the whole night? What was he talking about? And verse 13 says, at daybreak, he called together all of his disciples and chose 12 of them to be apostles. So he prayed about the people that he wanted God to put on his team. He didn't say, oh, I know I can do this, or I'm going to look for this person. He prayed. And he was looking for people that were available, as Pastor Judith puts it in her book. He was looking for people that were responsive. He was looking for the people that had potential to carry out his vision. And these people from diverse cultures, one of the most important things is that they were all working people. They were not idle. He found them doing something. For example, Peter, Andrew, James, and John, he found them fishing. They were fishermen. Simon the Zealot, he was a political activist. He was a messenger of those days. I don't know. Maybe messenger is not a good example, but he was a political activist. Matthew, Levi, he was a tax collector. That one we all know because of his kind of job. He was in URA. Judas Iscariot was a finance guy. He had, maybe he has a, I don't know, he had some diploma in accountants, I don't know, but he was in finance. He didn't pick somebody who could not manage the money. And Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, James, and Thaddeus, these guys, they don't tell us exactly who they are, but the Bible somehow says they could have been involved in manual labor, or because of where he got them, they also could have been fishermen. So he got these guys because of what, the potential they had. They were already working. He knew that because they were in the working culture, it would be easy for them, to be turned around. Somebody who is not working, somebody who is idle is a problem. Even Jesus will not look at you. He also looked at people who were committed. These guys were committed. How were they committed? They left their livelihoods. I mean, you have been fishing, you have been getting your money from there, and somebody comes and says, let's go. And you put the fish net there, you just follow the guy. They left their families without knowing how they're going to survive. They left their societies because, remember, they were moving up and down. So it was not like they were, in one area. And then they committed to this guy, a radical preacher who had no future. I mean, if you put yourself in your shoes and you see Jesus saying things that are, away from the normal, and he says, follow me, and you just follow. He's teaching, everybody's thinking this teaching is too radical, and you just follow him. That is commitment. And they withstood a lot of problems, a lot of challenges with him. They moved with him. So they were committed, but they were also teachable. These guys were teachable. At one point in Matthew chapter 13, I think verse 36, they said, explain the parable to us. He gave them parables, and sometimes, actually, most times they would not understand them. They say, explain to us, and he would sit them down and explain what that parable meant. So they were teachable. It's not like this, they said, we are with Jesus, now we can move on. No, they were teachable. And over time, they would accept and live his shared values. For example, they lived in communities and fostered compassion. That is after he had gone. In the Acts of the Apostles, you find it there. They fostered generosity, communal generosity. They modeled Jesus' humility, of washing their feet by leading through humble service. They brought the gospel to the Gentiles. The Gentiles were not supposed to receive the gospel, but they took the gospel to the Gentiles because Jesus was teaching that we are the same. His servant kind of leadership was like, there's nobody who's bigger than the other. So they took it to the Gentiles, they took it to the poor, they took it to the outcasts, and then they chose forgiveness over retaliation by blessing those who cast them. They endured imprisonment, hardships, and they never sought revenge. We don't see anywhere where they say, okay, you have done this to me, I can pray to the Father and he will do this to you. They didn't do that. And like Jesus died for the cause for our sins, they also died because of the gospel. That was the ultimate sacrifice. So these guys shared Jesus' vision. And so if we are going to build teams that withstand the course of time, we need to ensure, we need to mold, we need to enable our team members to share an inspired vision, a vision that can let them move forward, and the shared values that we espouse. That was his recruitment style. Those are the people he recruited. Compare yourself now. Compare your recruitment style with Jesus's recruitment style. You find that there is a lot to be desired. And how about his teaching style? I mean, his leadership style. Jesus used transformational servant leadership. I merged them because they are together. He was so transformational, but yet it was the servant kind of leadership. And this kind of servant kind of leadership, or Judith is calling it upside down leadership, has a pyramid that is inverted. It's an upside down leadership prism where you have the majority on top. If you are in the business world like me, the customers are on top, then you have the team, the workers, the employees, then you have supervisors and maybe managers, and then you have the senior management, the CEO, and the board. That is how we know it should be from top down. But this upside down leadership style makes things inverted. You have the majority of the people up and the smallest number of people down. Jesus gave his disciples identity. One of the styles, one of his outcomes of his style is that he gave his disciples identity. They were called the disciples of Jesus, the disciples of Christ. They had identity. Whether some people, and it became a problem for them. Some died. I think most of them died because of that identity. Judith talks about David. David also gave his soldiers identity. They were called men of valor. He gave them identity. They were known as very brave guys. Secondly, Jesus modeled the way for his disciples. He modeled the way for his disciples. And how did he do that? He washed their feet to show that they were bigger than him. That is in John 13. He prayed. We saw that in Matthew 14. He showed compassion. He helped Lazarus to come from the dead, that woman with blood, the dead girl, the blind and mute, many. If you read Matthew chapter 9, talks about those things. He showed compassion. He invested in his disciples, like we are expected to invest in our team members. He fostered an intimate relationship with them. He was with them, he was moving with them, he was eating with them. He molded them through mentoring, coaching, teaching, through the parables. He actually delegated actual authority to them to heal, to preach, to cast out demons. And eventually, he left them with the Holy Spirit. Jesus also allowed transformation of the disciples by building their internal characters. Remember the case of Peter? He built their characters. He didn't say, you're a gone case, No, he helped them to reshape, to rebuild. Jesus allowed disciples to make mistakes. Sometimes we don't allow our team members to make mistakes. When they make a mistake, that's the reason to suspend them or even sack them. But Jesus allowed he allowed his team members to make mistakes. He guided them, he encouraged them, he corrected them, he led them to maturity of faith and wisdom. Examples are, and these are guys who made serious mistake. For example, Peter denied him. Peter said, I don't know. Can you imagine? Somebody, Risa will go somewhere and said, I don't know this guy. And I'm like, but I'm on your board. No, I don't know Maurice. Peter denied him. Luke chapter 24, verse 54, 62. Peter denied him. But what did Jesus do? The denial was already foretold, but what did Jesus do? That's the most amazing thing. That is the one that I would like us to take out on our teams. When Peter denied him, Jesus turned and looked at him. Whatever. He just turned and looked at him to remind him that I told you. He didn't say, hey, Peter, but he said, he just turned and looked at him. Sometimes we need to turn and just look at the culprit, and that is enough. It sends a message. Thomas doubted him. Thomas doubted him, said, are you sure? I cannot believe until I see. And what did Jesus say? He said, blessed are those that have not seen, but believe. He didn't say, he didn't go into Thomas and say, Thomas, how can you do this? I knew you before you are. He said, blessed are those that have not seen, but have believed. James and John, the brothers, you know them, they asked for positions of highest honor and glory. They wanted positions. All the disciples often argued about who was the greatest among them. They lacked faith to cast out demons. You remember that girl who got a problem? I think she was dumb and mute. And they tried to cast out the demons, and the demons didn't go. And when Jesus came, he said, what is the problem? And the father started talking about how the apostles had faith to heal. And what did Jesus do? He said, you faithless people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. I think that was true because these guys had not reached the point of looking at Jesus for who he was. And so their prayers failed to go through to have this boy healed. And actually, he ended up by saying in chapter 29, verse 29 of Mark 9, he says, this kind can be cast out only by prayer. And I think he was trying to tell them that, you see, he had just been praying. I think he was trying to say, you see, if you had prayed with me, you should pray. You are just here trying to do something without God's power. Judith, you are gone. I don't know. Are you still there?
I'm here. I'm gone.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question in that line. In line with this Jesus' style of leadership, where we are supposed to be servant leaders, where the team leader is supposed to work with a team, not lead, but lead with a team. Yet we find that in most of our organizations here, even in Uganda, we have a very serious disparity between compensation. You have an average person in an organization getting maybe $1,000, but you find the CA is getting $20,000, $30,000 a month. That disparity, how does it compare with the teaching of Jesus Christ, the way he led his team, and as Christians who are in leadership, some of us are CEOs and all that. What is your advice on this issue?
No, Dr. Morris, that's a very hard question. Is there an easier one? Anyway, I don't. There is an example. I don't know if I read it in like a newsletter here in the US especially. And I know even this is something that is a big problem everywhere. I find that the top leader is being paid so highly, and then the last person on the in the company is getting very, very little money. Now, people have tried to actually study that. I remember we did it as a project. What causes that? How can we solve that? Is that fair? Is that so? It is a big discussion, but in the context of what we are talking about, of leading like Jesus, I believe if Jesus was the head of the organization, he wouldn't allow people to that kind of inequality. Now, and again, we have to know the spirit, because that's why we are saying that to be like Jesus or to learn from Jesus, we have to change the spirit of the organization so that we don't have people who are going with almost nothing and then the others having too much. But what causes that, just generally speaking, for example, the lifestyle in the US, life is very expensive. What is, let's say, $5 in Uganda might give you a meal to maybe 2 days or one day. Now, $5 for someone who is in the US, it's even not maybe a bottle of water. So there are all those genuine causes where we have to talk about differences. So we can look at the cost of life, for example. And there's been a discussion of why countries like the US would use labor from Africa because they want to pay cheaply. Because they know if they give you $1,000, that's a lot of money. But here, no one is going to maybe work for that. So they will outsource so that they pay cheaply. Or even here, they tried different things. Another reason people look at education, like where the example you used, if someone has a PhD and another one maybe has primary school education, you can't pay them the same. Or if someone is the level or the rank, if someone is a cleaner and another one is the CEO. So there are those genuine differences that have to happen. But then there is a situation that becomes unfair where you find that we have an organization, and you can look at it anywhere online, where the leader is being paid abnormally highly. With even with the expenses, there's no justification of why this leader is being paid so highly just so that they can afford their luxurious life. I think that is not part of upside down leadership. There has to be a fair rate or fair payment that no one goes home rumbling or rumbling because they're not being paid enough. Now, and there are ways to do that, especially I've worked in HR where we have to go and do comparables and look at other organizations. What are they paying? Or look at the market cost of living. So there is a way how that can be solved in a professional way. And as students of leadership, especially according to Jesus, we have to make sure we are fair. Make sure you're fair. So what the good example I remember was this organization, they were cutting positions because they didn't, I think there was an economic downturn, things were not doing well, and they were supposed to reduce on the number of staff. What this CEO did, and I wish you asked me this question earlier so that I do the research, but it's a true example. What the leaders of this organization did, I don't know if it was just like the top management, They said, we are getting all these bonuses, we are getting all these salaries. And we know our people are good people. They are very hardworking. They love this company. We don't want them to go because the business has reduced or the economy has turned down. What they did, they got their own money. They said, we are willing to take a pay cut and let our money be used to pay the people who are supposed to lose their jobs. And that became an example. It actually was written about, was studied, because it's not normal. So I don't think they were practicing Jesus's example, but that is something we can learn from. If you are getting this high salary and someone is going to lose their job because that is the only thing they have to depend on, I think the fair thing is to say, what can we do as an organization? Instead of this person losing the job, can we cut down on costs? Can we share maybe and not give bonuses this year so that we keep people on the payroll? So what are you doing in the spirit of trying to serve the person who is about to lose their job, and maybe they have children, they have all these responsibilities, instead of saying, oh, for me, I'm taken care of, I don't care. So I don't know if I answered your question, but there are good examples of actually CEOs or leaders who have taken a pay cut to serve their organizations. But there are others who are having fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, you have. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, as I went down, I would like to encourage people to read this book, because as I read through this book, and why I asked you that question was that I used to work in a company. I computed where I was the CEO, and I was getting 15 times more than the average worker. And I looked at it and I said, even though the money was set by the board, and I felt so guilty, to tell you the truth. After reading through, I really felt so guilty. And I have told myself I will not do this again. I won't take it up, because it's very unfair, and I think it's really unchristian. However educated you are, no, it's not fair. So for me, that has been my highlight. If somebody can pick something from this, and you are like me, I would be glad. But I looked at some of these guys in the world, and I couldn't believe Starbucks. The CEO in Starbucks gets 6,666 times salary compared to the average worker in Starbucks. 6,600 times. General Electric, I think it's a USA company, also 1,280. McDonald's, 1,000. Walmart, 930 times. Citibank, 440. I try to pick companies from different perspectives. MGM Result, that's a whole 332. What can an NGO, what does that tell us about these organizations? That they are not inverted pyramids. They are the pyramids we are where the person on top gets the most, the ones down get the least. Even if you added all the money that other people are getting, they may not come up to what the CEO is getting. That is very absurd. In conclusion, and then you can ask questions, I echo Professor Brian Epson's views that this book is insightful, it is unique, it is focused, it is exceptional, and it's an enviable resource for leaders who want to emulate Jesus's kind of leadership style. Thank you so much, Judith, for bringing this to the world. I'm sure it's going to bless many. It has blessed me concerning the CEO compensation. So I am done, and maybe now we can go to another phase. Over to you.
Yes, question. Thank you. So I passed. Thank you. But you
I was not nothing. No, it is. I loved it. It's insightful.
You know, I
Insightful.
love your take on, because I know you are involved in all these things, the hiring and all these.
Yeah.
That's why I thought your examples are going to help us a lot. Because for me, what I did was just look at David and Jesus, and I was scared that people are going to think that if you want to get a team, just go look for fishermen, people who didn't study, people who are the least of the list. I was like, oh, that would be a misreading of the book. But for example, I like the way you started with, no, let's get people who are hardworking, people who they are already proving that they are responsible, they are committed to their jobs. Jesus
Yeah.
did go and find people who are doing nothing and just
No.
so I like that because I don't want people to think, oh, be like David, just go get those in debt and those in rejected by society. There has to be qualities.
Yeah.
You're not looking yes for the on PhDs only, but at the same time, as leaders, we have to ask God. I don't know if it is discernment or a gift to look at someone and see where they can be. And work towards that. Be willing to mentor, to invest, and wait for this person like Peter, who I think Peter was crazy. I don't think if you meet him the first day, he's talking too much, he's answering things even he doesn't know. But Jesus could tell if this person is given time and spends time with me, he's going to the church. But as leaders, especially when you are in HR meeting and you're hiring, you're looking for like decoration. Do you look nice? Like in David's case, that's why he didn't pass. Because the prophet, the father, number one, forgot about him. I don't know if David forgave his father. He had nothing to offer according to the family, that he was even forgotten. When the bishop of the area or the biggest prophet came to their house, they forgot to call him to the family meeting because they were like, oh, that one is already a gone case. So there are people in the organization that we look at and we say, oh, this is a gone case, or they don't have what we think. But look at how David ended up. And because he was rejected, and this is my interpretation, because he went through it, being underlooked, overlooked, and despised. That's why when he was choosing a team, he could see quality before anyone sees it. So he went for those that community had rejected, that disgruntled, and that's how he was able to turn them into a mighty army. He was not just looking for people who have nothing to do. He could tell because he had gone through it. I think he could tell this person needs this and I have it. If I give them time, they will be an army. The same with Jesus. These are fishermen, because being a fisherman at the time of Jesus, it was, yes, the work of the day. It was what people were doing. But he knew, okay, and that's what he tells them, what they are going to become. Say, I will make you fishers of men. Right now, you're just doing the normal life, everyday life, fishing for fish. But what I see is fishers of men. And he started calling them that. I will make you fishers of. Who in your organization are you number one overlooking because they papers, they don't have this experience. But also, can you develop an eye or a skill of looking at the future, the end of this person, and be willing? There are organizations that don't want to spend money in training. If you tell them, I'm going back to school, or I have to add this skill, and they're like, no, 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 that's not part of the budget. But we have to include it in the budget, especially if we are talking about the future of the organization. How can we invest in our people? Okay, I'll stop the excitement. Thank you. So guys, I passed.
Yes, please. Thank you.
whether to me or to Dr. Morris, he's the expert. Feel free to unmute, add, subtract. We want to at least use the next like 15 minutes to, what do you think? And remember, this book actually can get it for free if you can do Kindle on Amazon. You can download it. And if you are in our class, you can still get a copy. So please try to get it. Let's encourage ourselves to read. I'm waiting for someone to ask me a question. If you are leading a team or with a team, remember we're saying it's not just leading a team, but you're leading with a team. You're alongside. You're not everyone is just saying yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Timothy, are you trying to ask me a question?
Yeah. And Pastor Judith,
Yes, please go ahead.
leading with a team. I heard Dr. talking about leading with a team. You don't lead alone. But what about when you're leading people, like you're giving them assignments, but they don't do them the way you want? You feel like you want to just do them on your own. How do you make sure that these people around you, they get your vision, like they buy it and run with it?
That's a Dr. Morris question.
Oh,
What do
okay.
you-
Yes. Oof, and I'm going to give a very, very simple example of people who are like fishermen for me. So, where we are trying to do something on an island somewhere. And I have people like you can take like fishermen of Jesus' time. Actually, they have been fishermen because they do fishing, but the government has stopped fishing on Lake Victoria, so they are looking for all kinds of jobs. Now, we have been trying to build a wall, a fence around the estate. And people come in the morning and they want to work. So at first, I used to say, okay, I'm going to pay you for a day. Fortunately, I may not have read about Jesus's leadership style like Judith has brought it up, but I know the basics of good leadership. Even at that level, actually for them it would be management, not necessarily leadership, because I want them to do the right thing. I've come to realize that the difference between leadership and management, or between leaders and managers, is that managers do the right thing and leaders do things right. I mean, leaders do not have to think about the processes and systems, and I think Pastor Judith, you brought it up well. But managers, their work is to make sure that the resources are well catered for, the processes are followed, the systems are followed. But leaders, they will do the right thing all the time. If a leader comes and says, we are going to put a road here as I campaign in a certain district, he has done the right thing by appeasing the voters. So it's up to the technical guys, the finance guys, to look for the money. For him, he has done the right thing. But this time, I was both a leader and a manager. Now, these people come in the morning and they want to work. And guess what? I don't do the Jesus thing of saying, what have they been doing? Because I don't. But I ask them, what have you been doing? I've been fishing. And if you don't know about fishing, it's actually a very serious job. Because these guys go at around 5, they lay their nets, and they actually sleep on the lake. They sleep up to around 5 in the morning when they pull back the net. So they sleep in the boats, in the rain, in the whatever, in the wind, they are on the lake. So if somebody can spend a whole night there, then maybe they can pick a brick, they can push a wheelbarrow. And so I say, okay, but at first I said, you come, you work for a day, because I give them lunch, I give them drinks, and they like that, on top of their salaries. But then I realized that some people were not working. They were hiding behind the day ending, and then they get the money. So what did I do? I said, okay, we are going to do, Makatala, marked line. Like you're saying, I'm going to put you on contract. So you guys get into a group, you know yourselves better. You have worked for this day and you see somebody who can work and another one who cannot work. So what you do, form yourselves into a group. Those who are going to pick stones, those who are going to push the wheelbarrows, those who are going to build, those who are going to, and they know. So you find themselves, me, I'm going to work with this one. Me, I'm not going to work with the other one. And you find somebody who has been lazy actually is left behind. The person whom they don't want, then as what is happening, hey, they don't want to work with me. Why? And you realize that they don't want to work with him because he's lazy. He doesn't work. And then the other team works. And at the end of it all, if you have agreed that you're going to do 100 meters and each meter is, let's say, $2, hey, that's $200 or $20, I think $20, and I will pay that. That's how I have managed this kind of thing. And then you find they are working harder. And then now I just have to look at their quality of work. So in that situation, if you have where people don't want to work, if you have effective teams and these teams have leaders, they pinpoint those guys who are, they are always lagging behind or they want to hide behind. They will get them. And at the end of it all, you have actually led with the team by mentoring them, by coaching them, by focusing them on what is right. That's how I would answer that question.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's why sometimes leaders don't want to delegate, to give responsibility, because you want to do it yourself. Now that is good and bad, because you can't do everything in the organization by yourself. Like I can't be here and do media and mobilize, and that's why we have Timothy, we have Elizabeth, we have Jimmy who helps me. So you have to know that there is a limit to you as a person if you want to go far. Otherwise, your organization or whatever you're trying to do will be to the extent you can do it yourself. But that we encourage, let people make mistakes, but guide them. Because yes, mistakes sometimes can be costly. But don't say now, if I don't do it myself, they'll make a mistake. So as a leader, are you training them? Are you showing them the right way to do it? And if this person is just misplaced because you've taught them, you've trained them, you've allowed them to practice and they still can't do it, maybe they are not in the right position. Move things around. See if you can get someone who is excited about what needs to be done. Then, okay, Jimmy, sorry, that is a long answer. King, you look like you have a question, and then I think Timothy had a question.
I think there is something in the chat. Somebody
Yes, I do have a question. Thank
you. Did it take you to finish the book? Because I see you did a lot of research.
Oh, okay, so that's Felix.
That's for me? Okay. I think it took me about 10 to 11 hours.
To read it, okay?
Yeah. I read a bit of yesterday and a bit of today, and it was done. It's easy to read. It's very easy to read because it's interesting. You want to go and get your tea and continue. So yeah, it took me about 10 to 11 hours. Thank you.
If you're like me and you're an audio learner, I listen to books. And nowadays it's easy. So you can get a PDF. So at least if you're not into turning pages, though later, if I like something, then you buy it because then you want to highlight, but at least you have already read it. So if you are a paper person and you want to highlight every page, please get the physical one. But if there are different ways you can get this book. And yes, King, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Praise God. I first of all want to appreciate because it's very enriching, and I love the format where Pastor Judith contributes, but also the expert also contributes, and it's very enriching. Thank you. My question has to do with where Dr. Morris talked about, the disparity in income and how he felt guilty at a point. And so that's where my question comes in, because as he kept, I applaud him for feeling that, that it's unfair, that he's getting all this and others are not. I wanted to ask about the perspective from God's perspective, because he says in Deuteronomy 8:18, he says that it is he who gives the power to get wealth, and that so that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to thy fathers. So God gives the power to make wealth, and so I think I'm not saying that it's good for these disparities to exist. They do exist, however. So my question is, if you have the understanding that God has blessed you immensely, and he makes you a blessing, he blesses you to bless others, does it help to alleviate the guilt and sort of put it in proper perspective so that you are able to function within the worldly system that way? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. King, why I felt guilty, and now it's today, by the way, not many times ago. This is a job I had up to 2023. And yes, it was a blessing. There was good money. But why I'm feeling sad and bad about it is that I could have done something about it. I had the power to say, let other people also get better money. Even though I was CEO of another company, but I had that power to make things right. And I never thought about it. I was looking at my education. I mean, I have so many degrees. Maybe, I don't know whether in my mind I was adding each degree and giving it a certain amount, and the experience, I've been working for 30 years and more. But that sincerely did not justify getting the kind of money I was getting. And so I'm looking back and say, how would I even sign checks for these people? It has brought some guilt in me. I'm no longer there. And I thank God for the money. It did well, but I could have done better. I could have done better. And given another chance, I'll think through about how people are compensated. Because yes, there could be that disparity. You have a PhD to that extent, and the company wants you so badly. Actually, when I look at why some people are paid so much, is because they are competitive. They are competitive. This person wants this person, this one wants the other the same. You are very right. God blesses you, but maybe after being blessed, maybe you can use that money for God's purpose, like investing in. But I took the money and I used it for my family, and I thank God for that. But given another chance, I would look at things very, very differently. Because after reading through, I realized, well, yes, I was blessed, but I don't know. The other thing is that the people who are getting the low money are also maybe comfortable with what they are getting, because I never had anybody complaining, but they also didn't know how much I was getting, you see. In most cases, you don't know. It was not public knowledge. So how much I was getting, nobody knew. Until one day, now I remember one of my people on the team, he was actually the finance coordinator, and he was from Kenya, he was not Ugandan. He's the one who said, but the CEO is getting a lot of money, because he knew. I had it, but I ignored it. Maybe God was trying to tell me that, hey, look at what you're giving others and what you're getting. But don't feel guilty. Let God bless you the way He does. But that money could be taken. I paid tithe. That's okay. But maybe I could have done better. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, King, I think there will always be those we have to. You're not going to go to an organization and say, "Oh, I want to be paid like the president," but all we are saying is it fair? Is there some injustice happening? Whatever the differences are, it's okay. Let there be differences because honestly, of course, people work hard than others. But at the same time, especially for we are talking about Starbucks and all these businesses where most of the workers are doing the same thing I do, and the business makes money. Instead of giving the bonuses to the bosses, that is the thousands of dollars, can we say, okay, instead of getting all this big bonus, let's reduce it and also let our people benefit. So there is at least some blessing, if we call it blessing. Let people feel like, oh, I love working here. They are doing more for me, even when it comes to finances, because the business did well, because we have all this money, we work hard, we're doing a good job. Now, there are some organizations that are actually doing that. They pay for medical insurance, so you get benefits. Or they start a scholarship fund for children of people who work in the organization, or they start saving for you for retirement. But there are others who are not. Even those who are doing it not in the spirit of we want everyone to be well. So what they put there is still little compared to what they could do. So that is the upside down way of doing things. We need to pray. This has been a good discussion. And someone was asking for the book because I don't know if I put a link. Timothy, please save my life. I think I tried to put a link. I didn't know if it worked. Yeah, but it is on Amazon. If you put in the art of upside down leadership, it should come up. Or talk to Liz or Timothy. Thank you. Can we say, let's send some hearts to our guest speaker, and thank you everyone for joining us. And we are expecting Dr. E and Peter to come back and teach. So be warming up for that. But people want to talk about leadership wounds. So I don't know what to do first. So we will be in touch. Jimmy, thank you. Thank you for always helping.
You're most welcome, Pastor.
Even when you're in the diaspora, I don't want